call HALALYAM la YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, RAWCHAA, QADASH, MASHANAKABAD, LAHA, SHALACHYAYAM, WAZAQUANYAM, Shall Great Millstone, and rule well and teach well, Shalom wa Barakyam, Al Habachayar, Adawan RAWCHAA, we're part of that number. This is your brother and fellow servant, Arya, from the GMS Orlando camp. Just want to make a quick lesson through the Spirit, just going into, the, I guess, beauty of the curses being upon us, upon our nation. All right. It's a beautiful thing that these curses have cleaved unto our people. Why? Because basically it forces our people to acknowledge the Heavenly Father. It forces accountability upon us. So this is Deuteronomy or Hadabarium 28 and 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord Yahweh thy power, to keep his commandments, and his statutes which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign, and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. Because thou servest not the Lord thy power with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things. So these curses, the main point, being verse 46, the curses came upon us and cleaved unto us, like we are inseparable from the curses of Deuteronomy 28 from verses 15 on down, because of our iniquity, right? Because we transgressed against the Heavenly Father. We sinned against him. So he set these things upon us for a sign and for a wonder, and upon our seed forever. So it's a generational. These are the generational curses. These are, the nation of Israel and the curses are inextricably linked. We're inexorably bound to the curses that the Heavenly Father put up. Well, really, it represents us being inexorably bound to our Heavenly Father, right? Just as you cannot separate prophecy from the nation of Israel, you can't separate the Heavenly Father from the nation of Israel. If you see what I'm saying. The curses, as negative and as bad as they are, and as much hell as our people have caught, it really is beautiful because it shows us, it gives us the answer. It proves that we are his people, that he's really dealing with us and the covenant that he made with us. Starting with our forefather Abraham, he will never go back on his word. It proves that this is the royal, the holy seed line that the Lord is dealing with. And he never really ever forsook us. He turned his back on us for a moment, but he never disannulled the marriage that we made with him, or that he made with us, right? He never completely just abandoned us. We, in the midst of our captivity, this being the worst and final one, we are still connected to him. Even the 2/3, as they strive to establish themselves in a place which is not their rest, the curse is really, as much as they may refuse to acknowledge it, the curses forced Jake to realize, damn, what's going on? This shit is not working no matter how hard I try, right? I can never fully assimilate into this society. I can never be accepted for real. I can never be one of the top upper echelon of society. I can never rise above the reputation of my nation. I can never be looked at as just an individual off of, merit and whatever other lies and deception that the devil, the Bible speaks of, which is the self-proclaimed so-called white man, right? That deception, the curses snap you right back to reality. The lies cannot prevail against the truth. That is the curses which force our people to acknowledge you cannot separate yourself from the Heavenly Father. You cannot get rid of that innate spirituality, the truth which binds us to, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. That's what these curses are. It don't matter how good you think you got it in this society, the curses will always rear its, I'll say, beautiful head, beautiful face, because it's really a testament to the unbreakable bond, the unbreakable covenant, the unbreakable connection that we have with the Heavenly Father, which is why he punishes us for our iniquities, because he's not known any other family but ours. You know what I mean? So, Deuteronomy chapter 30. I'll just look this up, right? Because I have a precept that I want to go to next, and I don't want to lose it. This is Deuteronomy 30 and 7. I'll start at verse 1. And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee. And see, so immediately you have to acknowledge the fact that the Lord said, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse. And we experienced it. We experienced the blessing and the curse. It wasn't if, it's when. These are really prophecies. These are all really prophecies, and these things happened. Right? We're in the latter end of our time being cursed. Right? Which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whither the Lord Yahweh thy power hath driven thee. In the land of our captivities we have remembered ourselves and are thinking upon his name, Yahweh, while his son's name, Yahawashi. And thou shalt return unto the Lord Yahweh thy power, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thine heart and with all thy soul. And that's happening now. That then the Lord Yahweh thy power will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither the Lord Yahweh thy power hath scattered thee. Jumping down to verse 7. And the Lord Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. Okay? Which has yet to take place, but we're in that transition now. We're currently undergoing that transition. And it's beautiful. That's what I'm saying. Like, even something that seems, even something that's, bad for us is really good for us. That's why it says in Romans 8 and 28, all things work together for the good of them that are, or who are the called, the chosen ones. Lord's word, we're part of that number. And then Galatians 3 and 15, brethren, I speak after the manner of men, though it be but a man's covenant, yet if it be confirmed, no man disannulleth, or addeth thereto. Now to Abraham and his seed were the promises made. He saith not, and to seeds as of many, but as of one, and to thy seed which is MASHAYACH. And this I say, that the covenant that was confirmed before of the Most High in HaMashiach, the law, which was 430 years after, cannot disannul that it should make the promise of none effect. For if the inheritance be of the law, it is no more of promise, but the Most High gave it to Abraham by promise. Now this is going into how the law, which was given hundreds of years, centuries after the promise made to our forefather Abraham, which went down to Isaac and Jacob and the 12 tribes, right? Even though we sinned and we were imperfect and we were unable to keep the law, and the law basically acted as a way to highlight or expose our imperfections. You know what I mean? Because it's not like there wasn't order, there wasn't laws before the law was formally given to Israel, but as it was formally and officially given to the nation of Israel, it formally and officially condemned us, to death, because we sinned, and the wages of sin is death. Now, what it's saying is, if it was about the law, right, if the kingdom of heaven, which is ultimately what it's about, if the kingdom of heaven was about, we will receive it if you can keep the law, all right, we'd be done. And that would also make the Lord out to be a liar, because it's not about keeping the law perfectly. It's about faith, the faith of our forefather Abraham, which was counted unto him for righteousness. The Lord made that covenant. The Lord swore by himself and made a promise unto Abraham that this is how it would go down, this is what would take place, and he would be the father of many nations, going into the 12 tribes of Israel, because we are a company of nations in our own right. That's what it says in Genesis. So, you know what I mean? It's not about keeping the law perfectly, but that doesn't mean that the law is done away with. Okay, the law is perfect. We're still going to live by way of the law. We're going to be keeping the laws. That's how you know what's right or wrong. You can't do away with laws. That doesn't even make any sense. But I bring this up just to prove, by another way, that the covenant that we made with the Heavenly Father, even though we were disobedient and even though the curses came upon us, that still does not disannul the covenant. And that still does not make void the promises and the prophecies. You see what I'm saying? Really, it highlights the mercy of the Lord that much more. The judgment and righteousness and love that the Lord has for his people is magnified that much more, because he's not, you know, he's not going back on his word no matter how bad we fucked up. You know, he's showing great mercy to us no matter how wicked, we've been, no matter how long it's been, you know. So it's a beautiful thing. I just wanted to get into that because, you learn to appreciate the good and the bad. You learn to appreciate the sweet as well as the bitter. You're able to digest the whole roll more and more, and appreciate the genius, the mercy, the majesty of the Heavenly Father and His Son. So I just wanted to go into that. I pray this is edifying. Mashanak Abad Laha Shalakayam was a Kwanyam Shal Great Millstone that we're willing to teach well. Shalom wa Barakim Al Haba Khayar Adawan Artazah were part of that number. Blessings, honor, glory, and power be unto YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI, Thamiyad, YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI, always and forever. Shalom.